Hello, everyone, and welcome to Season 2 of the World with Nate podcast. This podcast was created to shed light on some of the stories and lessons that we accrued during our time here. My hope is that those stories will bring us all together in this thing that we all call life. My hope for this podcast episode is that you find it both enlightening and enjoyable. So, sit back and relax. I want you to enjoy the ride. Special thanks to my friend Buck Kern of Hawkeye Storage and Consulting for helping me bring Season 2 of The World with Nate to YouTube. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Season 2 of The World with Nate. I know that this episode is going to be fire because I'm wearing my lucky socks. You guys don't know this. Hillary knows this now. These are something that I wear every single podcast episode that I have jeans on. So now if you go back, you can check that out. Being that I said this episode's going to be fire, it doesn't have much to do with the socks. It has to do with Hillary's occupation. She is a firefighter for the city of Waterloo in Iowa, where we live. It is a male-dominated career field, and she's doing something to change that. So I wanted to have her on to chat about that, the process of becoming a firefighter, what it takes to be a firefighter today with a family, and all aspects of that. So Hillary, thank you for coming on The World with Nate.
You bet. I'm excited to be here.
Hell yeah. So what is the earliest recollection, that you decided firefighting, hey, that's something that I think I could be interested in?
Yeah, pretty early on, I would say. Maybe not specifically firefighting, but I was always a bit of a tomboy.
Okay.
I was always either playing football or at the skate park or playing in the mud with my friends. So I knew it was going to be not your typical office job.
Yeah.
I thought maybe the military, but my life didn't quite pan out in a way that made that a possibility. But my dad was a firefighter. And obviously as a kid, you go down the toy aisle and there's like a whole section of firefighting toys. That's the coolest thing in the world when you're a kid. So I remember bragging about that. So it was always in the back of my mind. But had a bit of a rough start at life. My dad didn't live local to me, and my mom, she struggled quite a bit with drug addiction. So, I didn't really have a lot of a guidance or direction. I was kind of on my own from an early age, and had to overcome quite a bit. Got pregnant really young. So it took me a while to circle back to get to a place where I could pursue it. But my mom actually overdosed in 2010, maybe?
Wow.
Yeah. And by then I was, 17? I already had one kid. And I remember being at home with her and her boyfriend at the time coming out of her bedroom and saying that he couldn't wake her up. And I have no medical training at this point. Looking back, I realized, she was dying, but she had this weird breathing pattern and she looked awful and I couldn't get her up, and it's just the worst feeling, just helplessness in that moment. You call 911 and it felt like time froze waiting for help to come, and I remember paramedics showing up. We lived in a tiny town, so it was just a volunteer service, but they did have a medic that day, thank God, which is a different issue today that we're fighting, rural services, not having paramedics or anybody at all to show up, but we were lucky that day that they did have a paramedic available, and that feeling of relief when help, shows up and comes into your home and takes over, I can't even explain it.
It's powerful.
Yeah, it really is, and that was really what set the tone, because, I always wanted to be a firefighter or a paramedic or, in emergency services. But just being a young mom and being in really bad situations, domestic violence, and I just had the odds stacked against me. I really didn't think it'd ever be possible. But that day, that was it. I got to do it.
Solidified.
Yeah, I got to do it. I got to be that for other people. And it really is. It's such an honor it's a lot.
Awesome.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot of pressure and it gets pretty intense, but it's an honor.
Wow.
You know? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty deep. I didn't anticipate that right away. Thank you for having the strength to share that.
Yeah, of course.
Because that is why you're so passionate about what you do.
Yeah. I get it on a level that most people don't, you know? I mean,
have never experienced, thankfully.
Yeah.
But holy smokes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Talk about the ability to relate.
Exactly.
And the ability to provide empathy. And
mm-hmm.
I've been on the receiving end of paramedics, you know,
mm-hmm.
in crisis situation. When that's who you're looking for, and hope and everything rest with another human.
Yep.
And for somebody who is not in that realm anymore and someone who is in the service realm, thank you for what you're doing right now, because we need it. So 6 years young, you said young. Mm-hmm. You were young when the seed was first planted.
Yeah.
And then this circumstance
mm-hmm.
drilled home what you were doing with your future.
Yeah, that was kind of, I needed to do it. It
was no longer a question.
No, it wasn't a dream anymore. You know, I'd kind of written it off as, man, if I wouldn't have got pregnant, you know, that's what I would do.
So you got pregnant at how old?
I got 17.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we're saying that stacks the odds against you, the military service, that's no longer a possibility.
Right.
For a young, single, pregnant mom or whatever your case was at that point in time.
Yep.
So you had talked about that. So
mm-hmm.
you realized that door had shut.
Mm-hmm.
It's a hard road ahead if you're looking at a firefighter. And we had spoke prior, some of the things that would make that tough. We had spoke about the scheduling and the time commitments and the nature of the job.
Right.
With a single mom, but you never lost that hope. What kept you driving towards that? So you're 17, you're a mom with a child. What are you doing to make ends meet then? I
graduated high school early, and then immediately went to school. You know, it's kind of drilled. And looking back, I don't know that I so much believe that college is the only way to a good job. I mean, obviously, and we could talk about the qualifications of getting hired at a fire department, but you don't need that. And there's a lot of other really good jobs. You don't need that. But my mom actually did have a master's degree, and just the way I was raised, you know, it was
go to school.
That's your way. Yeah, it's the only way you're going to be okay. It's the only way you'll be successful.
If you don't
get
a
bachelor's.
College.
Yeah,
you're gonna
exactly.
fail.
Right. Yeah, 100%. Yep. So that's what I did. I went to my local community college, got my associate's degree, and worked full-time. I think I went back to work when my son was 3 weeks old, and went to school full-time, worked full-time from that point on, pretty much, honestly, for the next 5 years. Yeah, it was...
A lot of people have been in those shoes, and if you have, that's a hard fucking thing. Yeah. When we're talking about raising kids while you're going to school, while you're working, it's a lot for anybody.
It was a lot. It was a hard road, and you know, I would say I wouldn't change it for me, because it's developed, you know, the work ethic that I think has made me successful.
Yeah,
and really, you can put me in any situation now, and I'm like, I've been through worse.
Hell yeah.
I've had it harder.
Hell
I'm
yeah.
okay.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So there's not a lot to complain about. You know, I know that I'm good. I know that I've got me, and I wouldn't have that scarcity and sense of self if I hadn't have been through all the things I've been through.
It's been earned.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. 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 So the dream of the firefighter, you're not a woo-woo either. I didn't even, so woo-woo, hello, firefighting jargon. That's somebody who you hear about how they're a firefighter 300 times in your first 300 minutes. Yeah. Well, this is not the case. I didn't even realize you were a firefighter until I was past the creeper stage at the gym and started asking questions. Why she got so many tattoos? What does she do? Yeah. And then I looked on the fire page, and I see you front and center in some stories that I'll talk about later that shine light on what you were doing. And so we will talk about that. So the training, the OJT, the qualification, the education, you had said, what did it take for you to become a firefighter?
For me, I knew that it would help me. It helped my chances. And I was interested in the medical anyway, because I just told you about my mom. But I knew it would help me to get my EMT and paramedic. A lot of the departments will give you bonus points if you have your paramedic certificate.
Now, bonus points towards a score.
Right.
For the hiring process. Okay.
Yeah, and I guess I can't speak for every department, but I know for my department specifically, when you get hired, it's a pretty grueling process, really. You have to first submit your resume, obviously, and then they announce a written test date. You go and you take your written test. And
that is a general aptitude test?
Yeah, there's nothing specific to firefighting. It's kind of similar probably to the ASVAB you took. There's like a mechanical portion a little bit, about...
basic mechanics.
I can't remember. Yeah, just simple mechanic stuff. Nothing too detailed. And then math, language. There's a memory portion. They read out like a verbal story, and you have to recall some details from it.
Okay.
So you take your score from that. If you pass, I think the benchmark was 70% was passing.
Those are the current standards according to the Waterloo Fire Department's webpage currently.
Oh, good.
70.
I'm glad
Hell yeah, you're right on, Hillary. So 70 on the aptitude test.
If you pass that, you get invited to take the physical ability test, which there's also details about exactly what that is if anyone's curious. On the webpage, they walk you through a little video how to do it. It's pretty grueling.
Exercises-wise?
Yeah, it's a 15-minute time test. You have to go through these different stations. You do it in full gear, so your bunker gear and a air pack on. Bunker
gear?
Yeah.
What is that?
So that's like what you see the big suits firefighters have on in movies and TV shows. It's just
with the hat,
fire-resistant clothing. Yeah, we have a helmet on, and then our air supply or SCBA pack. We'll wear that for the test. You don't have to be on air, but you just have to wear it so you can
feel the weight.
You can support the weight of it all. Yeah.
How much weight are we talking?
I can't remember. I meant to look that up for sure.
That's fine,
I think
too.
It's like all in all close to 60 pounds, maybe. I think the pack's 25 pounds.
Yeah.
We just got a new one, which is 8 pounds heavier than our old model. I do know that. So it's gone up a little bit.
Thanks.
Yeah, right? Perfect.
Yeah, I got to work out in the gym a little bit harder now.
Yeah.
Wow. So, 60 pounds. Now,
ish.
It can be 25 pounds. It can be 40. I've rucked with 25 pounds over a mile, and it's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot
and
to
it's
add.
Hot, it's hot, and you don't have a lot. It takes away a lot of your
dexterity.
Your dexterity and your movement, because the lining of your gear is thick. Obviously, you have to be fire resistant. But so you do
that test in that crap.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you got to wear that.
And it is hard, but not impossible. Obviously, I'm only 5'4".
Yeah.
And I'm a female, and as progressive as you can be, there's just no way I'll ever be as strong as the strongest guy. Like if you take me and you put me up against a 6'4" dude who's in his prime physical condition, my physical condition is not the same to his, and you compare body weight to the amount of weight we're carrying. If I'm 150 pounds and I'm carrying 100 pounds, it's not the same as someone who's 250 pounds carrying 100 pounds.
Absolutely.
So, but if I can do it, anybody can do it.
Hell yeah.
It's hard.
That's the message we're pushing.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of my standpoint. Is I'm very not impressive, and if I can do it and be successful, anybody can.
I love that.
But
I think you're very awesome.
Well, thanks. It's hard. It's just hard enough to get you to that point where you want to quit and don't. I think that's its main purpose.
Yeah. What sort of things are you doing in that physical test with all that shit on?
So it starts with you walk into our training tower in full gear. You pick up a hose pack that I believe is 45 pounds, and then you carry that up 3 flights of stairs and drop it.
Yeah.
And then there's another hose reel that's there's like a hole kind of at the top of the tower, and it's sitting at the very bottom, and you have to pull it up all 3 flights.
While this is all timed.
Yes, it's all timed. And you can't stop. If you stop to take a breath, you're done. You're
Test
DQ'd.
is terminated.
Yep. So you have to keep moving the entire time.
Damn.
But you get that over the railing, you drop that, and then it's a bit of a break. You get to walk back down. And then there's this thing called a Kaiser sled, which is pretty much just a big heavy metal beam. And it's on the track. And it kind of sits between your legs, and you're standing up, and you hit it with a hammer. And you have to move that so far.
Okay.
Take some technique.
Standards are the same across the board?
Yep.
Male, female? Mm-hmm. This is the test.
Correct.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it's the same time. Everything's the same weight, whether you're male or female, which I think is fair because we're expected to do the same job.
Right.
So.
You're going to get yourself in hairy situations.
Yeah, you bet.
Yeah. So that, the physical part.
Yep. You do the Kaiser sled. You walk around through some cones. You get another little break, and then you have to pick up a charged hose line. I think it's just 1 3/4 inches, maybe. Drag that so far. Just open up the bale a little bit, and then you have to drag a dummy. And I can't remember the weight of the dummy. 175 pounds, 185 pounds. Got to pick him up and carry him so far.
The only reason that this, I did a firefighter challenge when I was stationed in the military with firefighters, and they destroyed me. And I was in the best shape of my life. And it was, to date, the hardest thing I've ever done. I've done triathlons. I've done a bunch of physical shit. That 180-pound dead weight dummy, we did it a backwards carry, like I don't know, fireman drag probably.
Yeah, exactly the same thing. Yeah, you kind of pick it up and walk it backwards.
My hamstrings felt like they were going to bust out of the back of my legs. And I was squatting 400 pounds at that time in my life. Blew my mind.
Yeah.
Now, what if you have a 400-pound guy in the 4th floor of an apartment complex?
Yep, I know. Yeah, and let's... Yeah,
that's an everyday reality.
Possibility, yeah.
Whew. Yeah.
That's why, you're never alone.
Right.
You've got other guys there all the time.
Which is important. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Teamwork, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Back to the qualifications to just become a firefighter. After the physical portion. Yeah. Then what?
It's that part's pass or fail. And you don't get points based on how well you do or what your time is.
15
as long
minutes.
as you finish the 15 minutes, you have to do it a total of 1.5 times. So you have to go back up, carry the hose back up.
Why just once, right?
Right. Yeah. And then so I think the end of the actual 1.5 times is you have to do the Kaiser sled a second time. And then if you finish it too fast, then you got to keep going until the 15 minutes is up. So as long as you pass that, then you move on to a panel interview, and that is scored. And honestly, I don't know how they score it. They ask you just, standard questions.
Firefighting questions, personal questions,
not
mixtures.
like technical to the job, but yeah, more like personal questions, like what does integrity mean to you?
How would you apply?
How does diversity benefit the fire service? Stuff like that. And anyone who's looking to get hired can find those pretty easily on the internet. Some example questions.
Okay, yeah.
So you do that, and they do score you. How, I'm not quite so sure. And then they add that score with your score from the written test, and that gives you your final score, and then they number you. I think our final posted list was 35 people, and they score you number 1 to number 35.
Where'd you fall on the list?
I got
Good brag. Yeah, do it.
I got number 1.
Yeah. And that list is not separated by gender. That is a list 1 to 35. Hell yeah.
Yeah. I was pretty stoked when I got number 1 because there is kind of this attitude a little bit that if you're a minority, that you're going to get preferential treatment because, they want minorities and they should.
They're encouraged to apply.
Not that you should necessarily get preferential treatment. I don't think, but yeah. Obviously, the department should reflect the community that they serve.
100%.
So, yeah. But I didn't want anyone to say that I got hired just because I was a girl. So if I was going to get like number 20 on the list and then get hired first round, I don't know that I would have felt, I wouldn't have felt good about it at all. Yeah. So when I got number 1, if I got hired first, which I did, I got hired with 2 other guys right away after that that list got posted.
That's a hell of a badge of honor. Yeah. I love it.
Yeah, it is pretty cool.
Yeah, because you busted your ass to get there.
I did.
Yeah, and only you know that. Only you know what you did to get there because your road's unique to you, as we spoke about some of those lessons. And you never blamed it. Before we chatted, it was, hey, those were things that, I brought on myself. Yeah. It was my life, choices, right. Whatever. And everybody here listening has made decisions that, this isn't going to help me right now. Right. Sorry. You can't regret it. Right. Move forward. And you possess that attitude, which is why I had to have you on. Hell yeah. So number 1 in the class of firefighter awesomeness. Fuck yeah. So you knew you were going to do that once you decided that you were going to be hired. Yeah. And what did the hiring process, they called you in, you said you were hired with 2 gentlemen?
Yep. So, and it was during COVID. So, I mean, it was a really long, drawn-out process. But
like everything was.
right?
Yeah.
I did miss a step between the panel interview and the list coming out. You go back and you interview with the chief.
Okay.
Just so he can get a chance to talk
It's
to you.
his firehouse, right?
Exactly,
You're
right?
like-
Yeah. So, yeah, we got hired, and then so for my department, we did a 1-month academy. So it's
Okay.
just the three of us, 8 to 5 every day.
And what sort of stuff are you going through in that? Firehouse rules?
Yeah, well, yeah, and a lot of training. You know, we get our hands on the tools.
Okay.
You know, we do a lot of fire suppression stuff, and this is how you load hose. A lot of loading hose and unloading hose and loading hose, and just getting the basics, the fundamentals down, so that when they send you off,
You have to
you
have
have a
those
clue,
things done.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. So what are some of, when you say unloading and offloading hoses, are you talking about like onto the trucks?
Yeah, pretty much.
Back
If you see
into the firehouse?
if you see like a fire truck driving down the street, they usually have like an open bed in the back, and they have all our hoses loaded.
Gotcha.
It's you're just pulling them off, charging them, and then loading them back up.
So charging, what do you mean by that?
Like water.
Okay.
That's it. Yeah. Just and
Making sure they're functional.
right.
And then
yeah.
loading them back onto the truck for the next deployment, the next
Pretty much. Yep.
time they're called out.
Exactly. Yeah.
Gotcha.
And we talked about being a creature of habit. You with your
Yeah,
socks.
socks.
I think that probably worked well in the military for
Very
you.
much so.
And the fire service is also a bit of the same way. You know, we have routines.
Yeah.
You know,
Checklist.
lawn gets done on this day, and house cleaning's on this day. We eat at this time, and hoses are loaded this way.
Yeah, every time.
It's kind of just similar, you know, in
Yeah.
that regard. So, but it was just it was intense month of a lot of learning, and
Who's teaching other firefighters who are seniored at the station?
we do have a training officer.
Very cool.
Yeah, so he was there all the time, and he's great. He taught us a lot, but there would also be some other senior guys that
Yeah.
would come in and help too. And then from that, your first year, you're a probie. It's your probational year, you know.
Okay, what's
Where
that look like? Is
Oh.
it like the movies? Are they having you clean and toilet?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, you do kind of do I mean, you want to prove, right, that you
Somebody's
want
got to do
be
it.
there.
Shit.
Yeah.
People poop and people pee. Somebody's got to clean the toilets,
Yeah.
right? Mm-hmm. Are you going to ask the people who have done it for 5 years and moved on to
Right.
do it? Mm-hmm. Somebody's got to
seniority
do it.
matters a lot in the fire service, which I'm sure is similar in the military
Absolutely.
too. Yeah. So
It took me a long time to swallow that pill. As an 18-year-old kid,
Yeah, I
I was
bet.
like, shit, he's not more important than me. That's not
Right.
how it works.
no, it's not. It's really not how it works.
It can't work like that,
yeah.
right?
No.
Not in the system we're in, I guess. You're speaking for the fire
Yeah.
department.
And I don't care. I'm just happy to be here. I'll clean your toilets all day,
Hell
every day.
yeah.
I don't give a shit.
Hell yeah. As long as
Give
we're
me the
making
brush, let's
progress,
go.
give me the brush. Hell yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're a probie for first year.
Yep. And there's
When is that over? Are you done with that?
Oh, yeah.
You're done with that? Okay.
So I've got
a year more under your belt probably if we're
I
talking
think I'll have 2 years in September, so I'm only a year and a half in still.
Very
so I'm
good.
still very much the new guy, but we had a lot of people get hired off this list. So I've got like 10 people that have
Very
been
good.
hired since me already.
Yeah, so you got out of new guy
So
status pretty quick.
I got out of it really fast.
It's not fun to be in, but yeah.
No, but there's tests, you know, every 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, and then a year. There's a written test and a practical test. You got to do some skills.
Yeah.
Just make sure you're learning.
Yeah. And I'm sure as time progresses, there's continuing education and new
Oh,
equipment,
yeah.
new standards, new
Yep.
guidance that comes out all the time.
Yeah, we're supposed to have quite a bit of hours every month. I know it's 16 specifically just in, your regular firefighter training.
Wow.
And then we've got more on top of that. We do hazmat hours we have to have every
Yeah.
year. And my paramedic certificate's a whole different ball game. You know, I got to recertify that every few years. And then there's quite a bit of training hours that are needed
that's
for that
stuff I
too.
didn't even think about.
So it's always, and it needs to be though, because all the time building construction's changing, or technology as far as fire suppression goes is changing, and obviously medicine's always changing.
yeah.
So,
There's
it's
a
important.
lot that goes into your job outside of fighting fires.
yeah, and you need, there's not a lot of room for error. If you make a mistake, it could cost somebody their
Fatality.
life. So training's huge.
How do you deal with that stress? You openly wanted to pursue this occupation, and I can say the same about the military. When I was 18, I was not prepared for the stress that comes with the as it should, the responsibility of others.
Yeah.
Life and death situations.
Mm-hmm.
You have to decompress from that.
Mm-hmm.
How are you doing that currently? What are ways that you do that?
Primarily, I go to the gym. Yeah,
we can speak to that.
That's
where we met each other. So the gym, that's your haven.
100%.
Things get tough, that's where you're at.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does wonders for me, and I wish other people,
could take advantage of that.
It would help so many people.
Yeah.
I think it's crazy how much it can clear my head. And then, obviously, there's just systems in your body. You're just going to release endorphins, and who doesn't need some of that? So that's primarily it in my kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if we're going to talk about things that are, specific to women, that's hard. It's hard being a mom and being away from your kids for 24 hours at a time. Not to say that it's not hard for dads either, but
for you.
Yeah, for me specifically, that's hard. And that was probably one of the bigger struggles. It's guilt, and still a little bit of guilt, Not really. I guess I'm over it now. I think I'm pretty cool. My job's pretty cool. My kids are proud of me. But when they were little, it's like, oh, man, I'm not the mom bringing snacks to the preschool or staying home and doing crafts all day, But and when you miss holidays, you miss the whole thing. We work 24-hour shifts.
Yeah.
So, if I just want to hang out with my kids. They're so innocent, and
I do know.
It's.
I feel the same way. And it's hard because as a parent, there's things that fill my bucket, and there's things I want to pursue in this life.
Yeah.
But I understand the grave responsibility of being a parent.
Mm-hmm.
I was dadless from a young age as well.
Yep.
13, dad disappeared. So
that's a tough age too, because you're old enough to understand.
And be a boy. I don't know. I'm not about gender or either, but I was looking for someone until I was 30. To fill that role. That's a whole nother story, but
relevant, because also that was one of the huge things that was appealing to me about the fire service, is because I had no family. Right. My mom just not present, really. She had her own struggles, and I was more her caretaker than anything.
It's very big of you to say those things.
Yeah.
It took me a long time to swallow the hate that I had. Still, even today, damn.
I know.
Some of those feelings hurt.
And it is like an ongoing struggle for sure. But I knew that there was family in the fire service.
Yeah. Camaraderie.
Right. Yeah. In a way that I can't. The military, sure. Probably police. Public servants, sure. But I wanted that. I craved that big time.
Mean.
Yeah, I needed people.
To unconditionally have you.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Crave that from a young age.
Crave.
So, yeah.
Wow.
We need it.
Yeah, I can relate. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, and I'm sure you found people like that in the military that you call brothers. That
still.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And you'll meet them at the next World with Nate event. They'll be here. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, good deal.
So, look at that. Mm-hmm. You have your brotherhood now, but now you're in another one in our community.
Yep.
So that's exactly what I'm trying to do with the podcast.
That's awesome.
Hell yeah. So we talked a little bit about the balance of what it takes, and those 24-hour shifts and being away. You are missing stuff.
Mm-hmm. And still trying to manage it.
Yeah.
As
the balance.
As the head of the household. Yeah, as mom. You know what I mean? It's, Mom, where's my baseball stuff at? I just finished a
37 hours I haven't been here. Hold on a second.
I just ran a code. My brain is fried. I don't know where your crap is at right now. I'm sorry. So it is hard. Organization really is, all I can do to manage it. But
and try to find balance.
Yeah. Try to find balance and then just accept it when there is none. And the job is kind of the same way. It can be just total chaos. And do your best to manage it, and if you can't, you just gotta roll with it and adapt. So I guess it kind of bleeds over pretty well into having young kids and being a single mom and
not
working
only
24-hour
those
shifts.
things, Hillary. Life, all of it bleeds over. Mm-hmm. What else can we do? Yeah. It gets chaotic. Mm-hmm. No matter if on social media it appears that it's perfect.
Yes.
Everybody is having a tough time, right?
Yeah.
The only thing we can do is the next best thing forward, right? So the rest and relax. You're talking about coming home after a shift. There's some chaotic things that happen as a firefighter, as a paramedic. Are you comfortable speaking on some of those things, the calls that you've been on?
Yeah, I mean, you name it. We've
Yeah,
seen it.
you get to a car accident.
Yeah.
That's instantly adrenaline. I've been in some of those high-stress situations. And then you're going home and,
Yeah.
I need Fruit Loops.
Yes. Right. And it is, I think, probably one of the hardest parts. Yeah, is because when you finally get out, if you've had a chaotic shift like that, and, I mean, I guess kind of even if you haven't, your brain is just always on, you know what I mean? And you have to make all these critical, life-altering decisions on a second. So it's just this massive adrenaline dump all the time. And then to come home, and it's like, you can, like, breathe for a second. And then, yeah, you're bombarded with all this other stuff. It's hard to maintain patience sometimes. So now my kids are getting a little older, but that's why I'm at the gym right away.
Yeah.
You know, because that
Give yourself
just
that
give me
time.
an hour to just put my music on, and so I'm even surprised you came up and talked to me because I probably seem so unfriendly in the gym.
I made sure to mention, I'm not trying to waste your time, and I'm not trying to wait. Like, I'm there to work too.
Yeah, right.
But it's also become a second office. So,
Yeah,
like, I can get shit done.
there,
Hell
right?
yeah. So, shout out to, the physical fitness aspect in regards to your mental health.
Yeah.
Because we have both seen the wonders of that.
Yeah, it's huge.
Huge. Huge. That was my first coping mechanism that was positive that I can say in my life.
Yeah, exactly, right? Me too, because
I picked up bad coping mechanisms, drinking, and drug use, and alcohol, and so
same, me too.
from someone who can speak, it's something that I found that works for me, and I highly encourage, just like you.
Absolutely.
And look at all the awesome people you get to meet.
Right.
Hell yeah. Yeah, we spoke about the camaraderie. So you guys do things together. That's one of the focuses.
Yeah.
You had said mealtime. What's that look like? Is there one person who is rotating in charge? So here's how I imagine it. You're on the schedule. What are you making tonight? What's it like actually at Waterloo Firehouse?
It's not so much a schedule because some people are not as good at cooking. You don't want the guy who's not good at cooking.
Make sure to tell them, hey, you ain't fucking cooking, dude.
Which sometimes, So there's 6 fire stations.
Across our city.
Right.
Okay.
And they all kind of have a different amount of people because one station 2 sometimes doesn't have an ambulance.
Okay. So staffing requirements are different.
Yeah. So some stations only have 3 people. Downtown is headquarters. They've got, our office staff too. So they've got a lot more people. But it's always usually you get in the morning, everybody does their chores, you do your rig checks, check out your ambulance, your truck, make sure everything's squared away the way it should be. Joke around, have your morning coffee, flip the shit a little bit.
It's always coffee?
Yeah.
Yeah. Not like
pretty much.
People are like, oh, I don't want coffee. Every firefighter is drinking coffee, shooting
and that's always the new guy's job too. You wake up and you make the coffee, so it's ready. Like, we're all over caffeinated. Yeah. Okay, we're sleep deprived.
That's okay. I mean, been there, done that.
But usually it's the fire truck. We'll go get the groceries. We'll all sit down, decide what we want to eat, and every station kind of has like the guy who cooks. You know what I mean? Because some of them are really good at it.
Yeah.
Really good. And they've got, I have this theory that like food just tastes better in the firehouse.
That's a
Because I always thought I was like a decent cook,
Yeah.
And then I go to the fire station, I'm like, I thought I made good tater tot casserole. Mine was garbage.
These guys are
I do
good at
nothing
what they're doing. That is so not true. But yeah, I get it. Yeah.
So I mean, and it's family, I mean, we eat together, we clean together, we hang out, watch movies together. It's 24 hours.
Yeah.
We spend. And it's not to say that, I mean.
There's got to be riffs.
Yeah, of course there is. There's people you don't necessarily, I mean.
You can't love everybody.
Right.
There.
But that's unrealistic.
But you are forced by the profession to get along and make it work.
Yeah.
You have to.
And loyalty, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
I got you. You got me, you know, regardless of if we have the same opinion. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, in that bond, I'm so happy to be a part of it. And then you do have the same, I'm not assigned yet, you have to be on for 3 years before you can bid on like a permanent assignment on an ambulance. But I typically ride with the same person every day. So, I mean, you spend 24 hour shifts.
So then that would be your spot is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
But while you're new, you kind of float around all over. But I've kind of landed in the same spot for the past few months. So, I mean, then you're spending 24 hours at a time with the same people.
Yeah.
And, you get close. And
Oh,
it really does feel like family. Play cards.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the conversations that they get deep quick when that is the only person you're working with through everything. The good shit, the bad shit.
Yeah.
They get,
And it needs to be that way, though,
it has
right?
to be.
Because my partner, who was there on that call and saw the things I saw, will get it way more than my loved ones ever will. I mean, even if I go home and I talk to the people who are closest to me in my life, they've never even seen a dead body, let alone one that's horrific, you know what I mean?
And just happened.
Yeah. So I think that's something that's changing too. It used to be, oh, kid, swallow it, toughen up. Not so much anymore. We're huge on mental health now.
Very cool.
And we've got resources in place and peer support, and people are talking. You need to.
You have to. The bottling it up crap, drinking it away.
Yeah,
leads down the dark
and it's
roads.
important not just for your. I mean, it is important for you, but for the people we serve. Because if I'm bottling all this and I'm not, it makes you bitter, and then how can you have empathy for the next person? Or I don't know. It's a lot. In the moment, it doesn't really register necessarily that it's a person. It's like I have a job to do. So if I wake up or if I show up on scene and someone's unresponsive or, they're in cardiac arrest, I see it like a to-do list almost, you know what I mean? Like get their airway, compressions, medications, all this stuff. And then it takes a while for it to like click, you know what I mean? Like, oh, well, that was a human, and
the attachment to human life to come back.
Yeah.
But in the second, if you are thinking about those things, it slows down the reaction.
Yeah. How could you do your job effectively if?
How can you maintain empathy if we are always asked to take the human nature and the love out of it?
Right.
You can't. We've learned that, but those are lessons we've learned. Hopefully, other people don't have to,
right?
Because they can hear us sharing this.
Yeah,
it's not an easy job, and somebody has to do it,
right?
But in the same regard, us as a society, we need to understand that there's going to be consequences and things that go along with that profession that we're not going to be able to wrap our heads around and understand. And that's okay.
Right.
Seeing dead bodies is fucking terrible. It haunts you for life, Yeah. Some of those
we actually were just having that
situations.
conversation the other day where it's like, you forget, that like the majority of the people like in society haven't even seen that. And then it's like
not been
almost
shot
a daily.
at.
Yeah.
Not been in a car accident. Not been, the things you're responding to every day are traumatic crisis situations.
Yep.
Present in your life every minute of your job.
Yep.
And then you come home to, where are the Fruit Loops?
Right.
I'll give you whatever you need. I'll help you out. You just say shit. Yeah, but that's why we're here, to talk through these things, so that the person sitting at the firehouse right now who's like, damn, this is hard. It doesn't have to be.
No.
It is hard.
Yeah. And I can only speak for my department, but...
And you, too.
Right. But the guys are great. Yeah. Everybody's so great.
That's awesome to hear as a community member.
Right. Oh, yeah.
That's fucking sweet that is the response.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm really lucky. And, I know it's supposed to be some big, impressive, trailblazing thing, I guess, to be a woman on a fire department, but it doesn't feel that way because everyone's
real.
So cool. You know what I mean? It's no big deal. I mean, there was... if I would have got hired 20 years ago, there was one female who did retire, who I've never met, but she was there for her entire career. If you got her here, she'd probably have like entirely different opinions. But
the time
we're headed
period
in the
and
right
her
direction.
lens was different.
Exactly. And I don't. Thanks to her and whoever before me, I don't have those struggles. I don't feel really that I'm.
That's awesome.
Singled out or that I've got extra to prove or anything. So
you're doing the job, and you're a firefighter.
Exactly.
Hell yeah. The lifelong dream that started as just a seed.
Yeah.
Came true.
Uh-huh.
Despite the hiccups in the way.
Yeah. I forget sometimes, I have these moments of clarity where it's like, holy shit.
The things I prayed for, the things I dreamed about.
Yep.
Hell yeah. Yep. Well, that's about all the time we have for today, but I am not going to let you get out of here without the firing range that I told you a little bit about.
Oh, yeah.
Firing range, it all makes sense. It's a game of this or that, lightning fast, whatever speaks to you, choose. There's no explanation, so assumptions or whatever the shit can be made.
Okay.
But you're choosing these for your reasons.
Okay.
This episode of The Firing Range is sponsored by Joe and Brittany Wilson. You know what's better than having one realtor? Having two. That's what you get with Joe and Brittany. They are amazing people. You are going to be hard pressed to find people who care about their community and want to be involved as much as they do. I've seen it with my own eyes. I'm speaking from experience. If you want to talk with Joe or Brittany, I will have their numbers and all their information listed on my webpage. They're licensed separately with over 30 years living right here in the Cedar Valley. They're my family. Joe and Brittany, thank you for the Firing Range sponsorships for This Way Forward. You're helping me put more episodes in other people's ears. Thank you. Hillary, are you ready for your firing range questions? Mm-hmm. The first one, we're starting it off easy for you and easing into it. Okay. Fruits or vegetables?
Fruits.
Tea or coffee?
Coffee.
Salty or sweet?
Sweet.
In the air or on the ground?
Ooh, in the air.
Paramedic or fire rescue?
Fire rescue.
Rescue me or Chicago Fire?
Rescue me.
Commissioner or company officer?
Company officer.
I know, that's a deep one. Pumper or a ladder truck?
Ladder.
Retirement or a wet down ceremony?
Retirement.
Okay, and past, present, or future?
Future.
Hell yeah. Thank you so much for your time. Like I said to you earlier, it's important for me to put people in front of my 3 daughters that I respect, and for someone to disregard all the noise and to go after what they wanted in life. Mm-hmm. Hell yeah, that's something I can get behind. So thank you, Hillary, for your time.
Yeah, you bet. Thank you for having me.
Hell yeah. Special thanks to my friend Katie Hine at Mattress by Appointment, Cedar Falls, for her sponsorship of Season 2 of The World with Nate.